You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. And be sure to smash that like button. When we got off the air on Monday, we learned that Southern Cal has named their starting quarterback, and it will be Miller Moss. The longtime USC backup will be the starter when LSU takes on USC out in Las Vegas a week from Sunday. This is not a surprise. This was always expected to go this way. As a matter of fact, when Caleb Williams opted out of the bowl game, and Miller Moss threw for nearly 400 yards. He threw for 372 and 6 touchdowns in the bowl game against Louisville in the Holiday Bowl. Instead of going and recruiting 2 portal quarterbacks, Lincoln Riley recruited just UNLV's Jaden Maiava. So felt pretty good about what they had with Miller Moss. And that performance by Miller Moss in the bowl game probably scared off some potential transfers because he felt pretty entrenched there. Not that dissimilar from what you saw with Garrett Nussmeier. For what it's worth, Miller Moss did an interview with NBC Sports, and he talked about sort of dealing with the pressure playing quarterback at Southern Cal.
The first thing I would say is you can't take all that on at any particular moment. You can't be like, oh my God, like I'm playing quarterback at USC, like there's all these people watching me. Like in my mind, that's the complete wrong way to approach it. I think the best way for me to approach it and what I've done in the past is just take it one play at a time, one decision at a time. And I think if you're able to do that, then you'll have success regardless of what environment you're operating in.
You know what's fascinating? The LSU and USC parallels are kind of eerie. I mean, they're the big picture things we know. The last 2 Heisman winners, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, played for USC and LSU. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels went 1-2 in the draft. Both teams last year were atrocious defensively. LSU was 108. USC was 119 in the country in total defense. Both defensive coordinators got fired. You brought in new defensive coordinators, new defensive staff. Both teams feel like they had far more talent than the level at which they played. So you're looking to elevate the performance from the players you had. And then you have this situation here with Garrett Nussmeier and Miller Moss. I mean, we sit here in Baton Rouge and talk about Garrett Nussmeier as a guy that's an outlier, who's patient and waited his turn and was a highly regarded guy. The exact same is true for Miller Moss. Garrett Nussmeier and Miller Moss were both 4 stars. They were both 4 stars in the class of 2021. Both sat and waited their turn for 3 years. Both are now redshirt juniors. As redshirt juniors, they're getting their first opportunity to start replacing a Heisman-winning quarterback. Both started the bowl game last year replacing said Heisman-winning quarterback. Garrett Nussmeier threw for over 300 yards against Wisconsin. Miller Moss threw for over 300 yards against Louisville. Last year, Nussmeier started that one game, threw for 591. Miller Moss threw for 681. I mean, they're almost paralleled. Both are Nussmeier is 6'2", 200 pounds. Miller Moss is 6'2", 205. Like, you have almost identical situations. Muse got it. I can always Muse, and that's a 90s reference too, Muse. You always say, I don't go. Pete Sampras. You know who's dominating tennis when my cousin Vinny was number 1 in the world?
Was it Pete Sampras?
Yeah, I bet it was. I don't know that for certain, but let's go with it. So these two situations are so eerily similar. It's interesting to me because however you as an LSU fan are feeling today about your team is exactly how USC fans are feeling about their team. Because it's the exact same conversation. 2 tradition-rich programs, 2 programs with good head coaches, with lots of talent, terrible on defense a year ago, really good on offense. You lose the quarterback, now you got a veteran replacing him, you got a new defensive coordinator, optimism's high. Like you could do the blind resume game with these 2 teams and it looks almost identical. So how that plays out in Vegas a week from Sunday, really going to be interesting. By the way, on Saturday, it is Tuesday right now, as you well know. On Saturday after practice, I asked Brian Kelly when they were going to start their USC prep. Here's what he said.
Yeah, we'll start Tuesday. We'll begin exchanging teams to give us a look at USC on Tuesday and kind of duplicate 2 weeks in a row of a game week preparation. So we'll go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday into a kind of a game bench control situation next week and then do it again. So, kind of back-to-back weeks, if you will. So if you think of it, next week is kind of the off week that you would normally have, your bye week, where you would do a little work on your opponent and then leading into the game week.
So today, LSU begins their preparation for USC. It's no wonder why Brian Kelly kicked us out for most of this week. We're not going to get to see what they're doing to get ready for USC. You heard him say on Saturday they want to pare down. They're trying to do everything. They want to pare down to what they do well. Run the ball, take their deep shots, get the ball to their playmakers in space, and we'll see how that game plan starts to come together. One more thought on Miller Moss in this interview with NBC Sports out in L.A. He was asked about his goals for the season, his first season as the starting quarterback.
The expectation at USC is to go out there and win. So I think that's, first and foremost, that's the expectation. But I think for me to define this year as a success, I want to put absolutely everything I have into getting ready and playing every single week. And I think in being able to do that, I'll live with the result, whatever that may be. So I think we have the guys to go be as successful as we want to be, and I'm really, really excited about that. But yeah, I think as long as we put everything we have into it, we'll live with whatever result that may be, and obviously hoping that's a very positive one and believing that's a very positive one.
Tigers are on the practice field today, Tuesday. They'll practice Wednesday with media availability, no availability Thursday, Friday. Then they're scheduled to be in Tiger Stadium on Saturday with media availability. So we'll certainly have all the latest as we have it. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.